All right, so number 16 says that angle 1 and angle 2 are a linear pair. The measure of angle 1 is 47 degrees. Find the measure of angle 2. What does it mean to be a linear pair? A linear pair. What do they make? They make what? A line. And what's the degree measure of a straight angle or a line? 180. So we're going to do 180 minus 47. Which is? 133. Good. Now, number 17 is different because now they're vertical angles. What do we know about vertical angles? They're congruent, so you don't have to do any subtraction. It's just 99.5. All right, 18, 19, and 20 are very difficult. These are more difficult than you will see on your test on Friday, but they're still helpful to know. So we're just going to go one by one. I'm going to fill in the angles that I know. Any vertical angles, I'm just going to fill them in the diagram. So this one's automatically going to be 46. They're vertical angles. The measure of angle NHM is automatically 60 because those are vertical angles. So far, that's what I know. All right, let's start seeing what I'm asked to find. So JHL. So that's a 60 degree angle and a 46 degree angle put together. So I will add those.
106.
What?
106.
Yep, 106. Good. Okay, the next one. JHN. Okay, this one you could do a number of different ways. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to subtract this angle over here. So do you see how this is a straight line right here? This one's 60 degrees. They want me to find the rest of it. So if I do 180 minus 60, that should give me how much is left for over here. 120. That is a tricky problem. That one even took me a second.
What's that for, 18 or 19?
19. Oh.
That was for 19. All right, and then the last one, KHP. Okay, so KHP is the same idea. We have a whole 180 and we're just taking a little chunk off. So this time I can do 180 minus 46. So 134. So the trick here is to relate it back to a straight angle. Are they adding something to we don't really add to 180, but do we have vertical angles? What do we already know? And what part can I cut off from 180 to make the angle they're looking for? That's what I kind of had to do a couple times. Again, that's a little trickier than I'm going to ask you to do on your own on Friday, but still kind of fun. Math teacher fun. All right, number 21 and 22, rewrite the statement as an if-then statement, underline the hypothesis, circle the conclusion. So underline, circle. All ripe tomatoes are red. If what?
If the tomatoes are red, they are red. So what do you think? That's what we think.
If you wrote that, I would be okay with it. She said, if a tomato is red, then it is ripe. I would be okay with that. Well, how did you do it?
If the tomatoes are red, then they were ripe.
Yeah, so, well, same idea. If the tomatoes are red, then they are ripe.
I
Did
was
anyone do
saying-
it the other way? If they are ripe, then they are red? This one, I could see it going either way. I would accept both answers because ripe tomatoes are red and red tomatoes are ripe. This is what we call biconditional. It works either way. So I would accept either way. So if a tomato is red, then it is ripe, or if a tomato is ripe, then it is red. I would go either way on this one. Okay, I'm going to put that, and then I'm going to put a little, or flip-flopped would be accepted too. But whatever one you put after the if, that's the one you have to underline because that's your hypothesis. So if you have it flipped, you'd have the other one underlined. The one after the if is the one that's underlined. The one after the then is the one that's circled. Tricky. All right, this next one's the order definitely does matter in this one. You will need an umbrella if it is raining. If what?
If it is raining, you need an umbrella.
Yes, if it is raining, comma, then you will need an umbrella.
What? I ain't had it no teacher. They all been serious.
All right, what part do I underline? If what? What's the hypothesis?
What, which one we on?
Number 22.
You said which one do you underline?
Yeah, which is the hypothesis? What should I underline?
If it's raining,
It is raining. Good. What should I circle?
then you would need an umbrella.
Yes, we usually don't circle or underline the if or the then, but if you did, it's not a big deal. Be careful on your test on Friday. Every year, someone skips the directions where it says to underline the hypothesis and circle the conclusion. You're doing that on your test. So just be ready for it. It's happening. All right, number 23 wants us to rewrite this as a true statement. So if you wash your uniform in bleach, then the colors will fade. If the colors on your uniform fade, then you will have to buy a new one. This is the law of syllogism that we're using here. Does anyone remember how that works? What do we get rid of? With syllogism, we get rid of... I want to take these two if-then statements and write them as a one if-then statement.
Take out one and two.
Which part do I take out?
The general line repeats itself.
Yeah, you take out the part that repeats itself. So see how it says, then the colors will fade if the colors fade? I'm going to get rid of those. So my new statement is going to say, if you wash your uniform in bleach, comma, then go all the way to the end, then you will have to buy a new one. All right. Any questions on this review so far? All we have left to go over is the vocab, so go all the way to the back. I actually don't have a hard copy of the vocab, so I'm just going to have to fill it in.
I got to pay attention to it tomorrow. And you won't be like, oh, you just copied it off the book.
confession is now on my YouTube channel.
What?
I'm recording, so your confession is now on my YouTube channel. All right, number 24. Number 24 says that two angles are called blank angles if their sum is 90 degrees. What is that called?
Right angle. Right angle.
Complementary. Good.
Oh. You know something?
Good. Number 25. Two angles are called blank angles if they share a vertex and a side. What's that called when they share a vertex and a side? Adjacent. Good.
Oh, dang. I forgot that.
Number 26. Two angles are called blank angles if their sum is 180 degrees. Good. 27. A segment, ray, line, or plane that intersects a segment at its midpoint is called a segment what? Bisector. Number 28. The blank is the point on a segment that divides it into two congruent segments. It's found by averaging the x values, then the y values. What's that called? Midpoint. Good. Number 29 says to blank an angle means to divide it into two congruent parts. You could do it to segments too. When you divide something into two congruent parts, what's that called? Bisect. Good. Number 30. A blank divides an angle into two congruent angles. It should say and because it starts, it starts with a vowel. Angle bisector. Good. Okay, 31. Two angles that are not adjacent and whose sides are formed by two intersecting lines are called, I'll give you a hint, they're congruent. Vertical angles, good. Now, does it say angles after the line? Yeah, so you can just write vertical. All right, 32. A blank is a two-part statement with an if and a then. The if is the hypothesis, the then is the conclusion. Yeah, it's an if-then statement. And final question of the day, number 33. Two adjacent angles whose non-common sides are on the same line are called, I'd call them a linear pair. That doesn't really make sense, linear pair angles, but, they're called a linear pair. Linear is fine. Okay, so that is our first review. You can hold on to it. You can take it with you. You can study for the rest of class. You can study all night. Tomorrow you're going to come back and do one more review. You will leave tomorrow with an answer key. So you should have 2 full reviews with the correct answers to study from tomorrow night. Test is on Friday. Any questions?